Hey, Kyle's Wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's AEW Dynamite from August 3rd, 2022, live from Columbus, Ohio. So, this is the only unnamed special edition of Dynamite in a 5 week span. We've got Quake at the Lake last week. We just had three different themed special named events of Dynamite. So, there are no title matches announced either. We're kind of coming off of a highlight reel of moments last episode, so everything is kind of set up for this episode of Dynamite to come off as a filler or an in-between episode. But there are still a few things I'm definitely intrigued about coming into the night. First of all, Undisputed Era is returning and combined with all the teams setting up for the Trios tournament that was just announced last week. That has a lot of layers of story that I'm definitely intrigued about. Ever since their return last uh, I was thinking someone else might be returning since the return was announced this week, and I was thinking maybe Kenny Omega maybe would return, so that had me intrigued as well. Definitely excited to find out that. There's also a number one contenders match in the main event for the AEW World Title shot that Jericho already had, putting it on the line against Wheeler Yuta, who got tricked into putting it on the line last week. So, coming off of last week's shocking main event where Daniel Garcia defeated Bryan Danielson in the main event, Yuta's definitely going to be looking to one up his rival with a win over Jericho here. Also, getting a world title shot just would happen to be against his mentor Moxley. That has big implications in the main event tonight. We've also got the first ever dumpster match in AEW history, as the Acclaimed will look for revenge against the Gunn Club. And this is a match type that Billy Gunn made famous almost 25 years ago against in the New Age Outlaws versus Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack McFoley and Terry Funk. So Jungle Boy also returned from injury recently, and now Luchasaurus has to choose between Christian and Jungle Boy. That's definitely an intriguing storyline coming into tonight, where Christian has a singles match against his old rival Matt Hardy, Matt Hardy's been repenting all month long over on BTI or BTEE, being the elite. And then this last week, Matt Hardy realized, why is my repenting? I'm just a bad guy. And he accepted that he's a bad guy. So that should be interesting as well tonight. Also, the long rivalry between ThunderStorm and Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter heats up again as they have another tag match with the champion and three of the top 5 ranked women in this match. It'll be very important despite there being no women's tag titles to fight for. This will still start go towards the rankings and stuff. So, coming off of Rampage, we also saw the Best Friends fighting against Sanjay, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh in a 6-man tag, and that will lead us to a singles match tonight. Jay Lethal taking on Orange Cassidy, which is another important match with the rankings involved, as Lethal has now moved up to number 2 in the rankings this week, and Orange Cassidy dropped out of the top 5 after Daniel Garcia's big win put Daniel Garcia at 5. Orange just got knocked down a little bit in the rankings after his loss to Wardlow in the TNT title match a few weeks ago. So that's a big match in the rankings. Taz is supposed to talk about the Powerhouse Hobbs situation, and Powerhouse Hobbs himself will have a match tonight after betraying Team Taz and Ricky Starks last week. Also, we also saw a huge moment where Taz's son Hook won the FTW title, so Taz will definitely have something to say about that tonight. So, looking into the future, we've also got a live Rampage this Friday, and Battle of the Belts 3 takes place on Saturday this week, with the only match announced coming into this show so far is Claudio Castagnoli defending his ROH World title against Konosuke Takeshita. And I am definitely looking forward to that match more than anything that was already announced for Dynamite or is announced for Rampage. So that's going to be a banger of a match on Saturday. But let's get into this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, again live from Columbus, Ohio, August 3rd, 2022. So the first thing we see is Orange Cassidy coming out, and he's coming out. The big cheers here. He's by himself looking for the big match in the rankings. So Jay Lethal comes out next. He's got Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt with him, and they attacked Best Friends after the match on Friday on Rampage. Wardlow came out to make the save, showing that he has now respect. He has respect for Orange Cassidy after their TNT title match. So now Wardlow might finally have found some friends and allies in the locker room after he alienated everybody while being in the inner circle. Now Wardlow might have some friends. Orange Cassidy is going to start this match out nicely with a go behind and a roll up on Jay Lethal. and then tries for a couple quick pins here and a headlock that Orange puts on. That he asks the referee if Jay quits. So Orange Cassidy's looking for a quick win here. Orange then puts his hand in his pockets and evades the lethal injection already. Jay Lethal trying for his finisher right away. Jay gets knocked out of the ring, and then Orange hits a dive to the outside with the hands in the pockets, but that makes the hands come out, and I don't think they ever go in ever again. So Jay is able to crawl away on his hands and knees now, going up the ramp to the stage, and Orange does a few fake kicks on his way up there. Lethal's now crawling even more right to Satnam Singh, who was banned from ringside but can come out on the entrance ramp. So the best friends now come out. Trent is on Chuck's shoulders with the jacket covering them so that they can appear to be a taller man than the 7-foot Satnam Singh. That was kind of funny. Orange then, but nothing really comes out of that. Now Orange tries to get back in the ring, but Jay Lethal, this is a key moment, hits a dragon screw leg whip on the leg of Orange on the ropes as he's getting in. Now Lethal sees a giant target on the knee, so he stomps the knee of Orange and then hits a big knee strike into the steel steps. Orange Cassidy's knee is in a mess now as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. The distraction from Satnam Singh has definitely turned this match around completely. Back in the ring now, Orange is able to block a couple of leg holds that Jay tries to attempt, any kind of submission holds here. Orange is able to get to the ropes and stuff before it even gets applied. But Jay then hits 3 knee breakers in a row, and Orange is now screaming in pain. Orange rolls over to the ropes and Jay is able to stay on the attack, however, with stomps. And then Orange fights off another leg hold, this time a half crab, but Jay again stays in control and attacks the knee. Orange is definitely in trouble and might have to start thinking about the future, not just this match, because Jay looks like he's trying to cause serious damage that might lead into the future. Now we're back from break, and Jay hits a drop kick to the knee. Orange then blocks the next couple of moves and evades 2 more to get up to the ropes. Jay then stops Orange and hits a dragon screw leg whip off the top rope and immediately applying a figure 4, but Orange is able to gator roll his way to the ropes. Oh, what's up? And he goes, oh yeah. No, that was like I couldn't believe they said it, but I'm glad they did. Why not? Just I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, right now then we had the figure or the dragon screw off the top, the figure 4 is applied, the gator roll to the ropes by Orange right away. Luckily for Orange, he got there right away. It wouldn't have taken much longer for him to tap out. Orange then gets caught in a vertical suplex, delayed, but he's able to counter it with a stun dog millionaire. Jay then hits the lethal combination right after that for a 2 count. Orange finally gets a shot in, but Jay almost won right after he finally gets an attack in. Jay now goes to the top rope, but Orange gator rolls again away and poses in the corner, and then Orange counters a charging in Jay, who's mad now. Twice in a row he counters and slowly goes up the ropes. That allows Jay to chop him hard in the chest. Lethal's now looking for another top rope move, but Orange desperately goes into desperation mode and is able to fight Jay off, sending him to the mat. Orange then hits a diving DDT off the ropes, then a tornado DDT on the mat for a 2 count. Orange tries to fight, but his knee gives way and he can't get up. Lethal now gets a little bit cocky and gets hit by the beach break. That almost wins the match for Orange. Orange then tries another orange punch, but Jay counters this one with an uppercut. Jay evades an orange punch again, then kicks the knee really hard, the already hurt knee of Orange. Right after, Jay Lethal hits the lethal injection for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, Jay Lethal. So pretty good match here. All serious business for Orange Cassidy. Once his knee was hurt, it turned into just a really good match at that point. Sanjay now comes out right away on the microphone and says, oh wow, Jay Lethal, you beat this little hippie. Orange you look like you've got Gondis. So Jay Lethal, tell me your thoughts about Wardlow. So Jay Lethal says, Wardlow came out last week and stuck his nose in our business to protect his new friend Orange Cassidy. Well, if you're listening, Wardlow, you better come out right now because I'm about to break his leg. So Jay and Sanjay then attack. The best friends come out with Wardlow behind them, and this makes Jay, Sanjay, and Satnam run away. Sanjay then says, Wardlow says, you want to do this right now? No, it is Sanjay. He says, oh, you want to do this right now, Wardlow? No, my man just wrestled 15 minutes, but how about this? Battle of the Belts 3, go train, play the violin in the symphony, and then put that TNT title on the line against my man, Jay Lethal. So that'll be a match that'll be at Battle of the Belts because Wardlow says, Columbus, Ohio, welcome to Wardlow's world, which is always cringe. But then he says, if you don't have the balls to fight tonight, I don't care when or where, but I will destroy you. Basically, I didn't get the word for word, but that's going to be a cool match at Battle of the Belts. Then we see a pretty good match overall, like I said, though. Good stuff. Now we see a recap of last week's emotional segment with Hook winning the FTW title, a title his father created. Ricky Starks then having the best promo of his life. And then right after that, Powerhouse Hobbs attacking Ricky Starks and leaving Team Taz. So an emotional moment last week. We go right from that to Adam Cole's music hitting, and the full 6-man Undisputed Elite come down to the ring led by Adam Cole, then Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, and Brandon Cutler's in the back recording for BTE in the background. So we're going to have maybe we'll see another return in this segment. I wasn't quite sure if Kenny Omega will come out. I wasn't sure if Hangman was going to come out, maybe both of them. So this was going to be really great. I knew this was going to be good. So Adam Cole then has a microphone and says, "Who's ready for story time with Adam Cole, baby?" So first of all, it feels great to be back in the ring. More importantly, in the ring with my friends. Unfortunately, I am not medically cleared. Wow. So, but I've had time to think our successes and our failures. You don't just celebrate, you fix the failures. And that, as the 5 of us have chemistry in spades, you're looking at 5 of the very best. Most importantly, it's about loyalty, about fighting side by side with your brothers. I came to AEW because of the Young Bucks. That is loyalty. I traveled the world with Red Dragon. That is loyalty. Loyalty is everything, which brings me to the Trios tournament. Matt, Nick, guys, there's nothing I would love more than the Undisputed Elite to win this Trios tournament. And if I'm not cleared and Kyle's not cleared, well, then if the Bucks don't team with Bobby Fish, you won't be capable of winning the tournament. And then all of a sudden, the Undisputed Era attacks the Young Bucks, and it was pretty much, we could tell it was coming with the whole loyalty talk, but it's still kind of shocking to see here. No returns quite yet. It's just a straight up Undisputed Era, if you want to call them that, turning on the Young Bucks. So there's a child crying in the crowd. Didn't want to see this whatsoever. The crowd is upset about this. They put a chair over the neck of Matt Jackson, about to come off the ropes, but Hangman Page comes down and makes the save. So Hangman has a lead pipe, and that makes all Undisputed Era, the 3 of them, run away. So the crowd's now chanting Cowboy-ish, and Hangman has butterflies on his jeans. He turns to the Young Bucks. They stare down a little bit. Hangman helps Matt Jackson to his feet. The crowd cheers big time, and then Hangman just leaves right after that. So I'm guessing it's going to be a really important BTE this week. You can find that. I cover BTE and Elevation in one review on Mondays. So that's going to be super interesting. We don't get to hear anything more about this, although we do have a live Rampage and a Battle of the Belts, so we might get to see more this week before we even get to BTE. But really important stuff here. So we found out that Kyle and Cole are still injured, unfortunately. No Kenny Omega yet, but maybe next week or maybe at All Out. Who knows? But the Bucks, are they back with Hangman? We don't know about that either. We almost came in out of this segment having more questions than answers, but we'll see. Are the Young Bucks good guys now? Is Omega going to help return, or is Omega going to return and keep them on the dark side? Are the 4 of them going to reunite the Elite and all be good guys? We don't know, but we're also no closer to knowing who's going to be in the Trios tournament as well. And we don't really find out any more tonight about the Trios tournament, so there is a ton of questions coming out of this segment where I really can't wait for BTE this week, and I can't wait to find out who's all in this Trios tournament. So many different questions coming in this trio, just like little questions like who are the Factory and who are the Dark Order going to enter, since they're 4-man teams. Although the Factory did just add Cole Carter this week on Dark, or I think it was maybe Elevation, but I could see the Young Bucks and Page entering the tournament and winning the tournament to become the first Trios champions, and that's the very moment that Kenny Omega would return. And still, even if Omega returns at that moment, would it be to reunite the Elite? Would it be to be mad at the Young Bucks for, remember, the Young Bucks were already kind of leaning like they were remorseful towards Hangman, while Omega was feuding with Hangman and lost the title. So a lot of questions to be answered there. Let's just move on for now. I could talk about that for a while. Now we see Jon Moxley in the back, and this is really all we see of Jon Moxley tonight, although we get to see him at the very end for a second. And he's just talking in the back here. Moxley says, "Oh, the last survivor of the Heart Dungeon versus the first survivor of the Blackpool Combat Club." And I don't care who wins tonight. Who would I rather face, enemy or friend? And when I say I don't care, it's not just some stock answer. When that bell rings, I don't care who's against me. I'm trying to break bones, make them bleed, and not stop until they're sent to the hospital. When it's all said and done, the Black Bull Combat Club will make the Heart Dungeon look like daycare. Whoever shows up next week better be ready. This is my life. This is not a game. So pretty good promo here from Moxley. We go to a commercial break at that point. Maybe the last time we'll see him tonight, but no, we get to see him at the end. Really looking forward to that Jericho Yuta match in the main event, and this kind of hyped me up even more for it. So when we come back from break, we get a quote unquote wild scene happened earlier, and I'm like, oh boy, what is this going to be? So we see Christian Cage being interviewed by Tony Schiavone before the show. Probably I don't know what they were doing, but Christian says, now he's dragged my personal life into this, which is something I would never do to him. Just clearly lying here. Then all of a sudden, a car tries to run over Christian, just in the parking lot here, and Jungle Boy comes out of the car. So security comes and they take Jungle Boy out of the building. Christian Cage wants the police to call because he just tried to attempt murder. Jungle Boy, that was wild. So I wasn't quite sure where that was going to go. We do get to see. We know that we have Christian having a match against Matt Hardy later on, so that was pretty insane. That with Christian just tried to get taken out like Stone Cold when Rikishi did it for The Rock and the people. So that was wild. Right after that, now we see, wow, the women's segment is actually going to take place in the first hour. Who would have thought? Maybe we'll get 2 women's segments this week, but that was way too much to ask for. This is the only women's segment. So anyway, this is the match of the night right here. This is a great one. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter come out first. I didn't see Rebel with them, but we see Rebel out there later on. All signs of them showing tension like they were. All of Britt Baker's title reign has seemingly vanished. Maybe they just needed a vacation away from each other. They seem to be on the same page 100% now. The champion then comes out with the number 1 ranked woman for her title, as it's Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm. That's ThunderStorm, the tag team, which Britt Baker was making fun of. Like, how could you want to get the title, Tony, and then team with the champion when you're the number 1 ranked woman? So anyway, Rosa and Britt Baker are going to start this match. Rosa gets right in their face and takes her down. Then Jamie runs in, but Storm runs in too to counter that, and Jamie actually throws Storm out of the ring hard. So Britt Baker then looks to apply the lockjaw already. Rosa counters that twice right in the beginning of this match, then hits a backdrop suplex. Jamie Hayter now tags in, and Rosa takes her down hard right away. Then a nasty drop kick against the ropes, just like Saray does. I don't know who else does that nasty looking how do I even say it? I'm just gonna move on. Storm now tags Storm tags in, and now they have Jamie isolated in the corner with quick tags and a bunch of double teams. About 5 or 6 double teams in a row here. Jamie's just barely able to kick out, but is definitely in trouble. Rosa now hits big strikes that seem to wake up Jamie a little bit, but it didn't matter. Rosa takes Jamie down with a nice snapmare. Rosa then hits a big kick, and the crowd's chanting for both Rosa and Britt Baker here loudly. So the crowd's split between who they like. Unfortunately, they weren't chanting Jamie Hayter's name. Jamie then counters the move and is able to tag in Britt Baker. They hit a nice double team now with a nasty Meteora to the back of the neck from Jamie Hayter on their way out. So now we go to a picture-in-picture ad break with Britt Baker in control and Jamie taking cheap shots from the outside. Britt gets a 2 count while staring daggers through Toni Storm on the apron. Jamie now runs over and pulls Storm off the apron so that she couldn't tag in. Britt wears down Rosa a little bit with a cravat, and then Rosa gets to her feet. Britt takes her right back down and tags in Jamie. So now they have Rosa trapped in their corner. They do cheap shots and taunting here. Britt Baker tags back in and applies a chin lock while rubbing Rosa's face paint off. There's no love lost here from Britt Baker, who hates the fact that it was Thunder Rosa who took her title. So now when we come back from break, the crowd is again cheering for both women, completely split down the middle. Rosa now tries to tag out, but Jamie tags in and is able to cut her off. Rosa hits a stunner anyway and is able to tag in now. Toni Storm comes in and with a diving crossbody off the top rope for a 2 count right away. Then Storm hits a DDT on Britt, who was on the apron. That looked great. That was to the outside of the ring. Rebel also gets pushed over, which was hilarious. Back in the ring now, Storm gets a 2 count on Jamie and then tags in Rosa. Jamie was able to use her power advantage here to block a double team and hit a nice double team suplex on both ThunderStorm. members here. So Britt tags in now, hits a big ripcord elbow, but Rosa just absorbs it and hits a Death Valley driver instead. Storm now tags in and goes up top, but Rebel is able to grab her leg from the outside, or Reba. I don't know what we're calling her now, but the referee didn't see this. Britt Baker then hits a top rope air raid crash on Storm that looked nasty and is able to tag in Jamie after that. Jamie comes in with a nasty looking sliding lariat right after that, but Rosa comes in out of nowhere with a drop kick to Jamie to break up the pin at 2. What a match we're seeing here. This is awesome. Rosa and Britt then get in each other's faces. Britt paintbrushes Rosa, but Rosa slaps Britt right hard in the face. They exchange strikes now. Britt blocks a Thunder Fire Driver, then hits an air raid crash on the mat, and that looked great. Storm then hits a tornado DDT on Britt Baker, and Jamie Hayter comes in and hits the Irish Curse backbreaker on Storm. All 4 women are down as the crowd's chanting, "This is awesome." They all 4 get up, and then ThunderStorm hits a stereo German suplexes at the same time on both women. Then Storm hits nasty hip attacks in the corner, back and forth to the opposite corner. But while this was happening, Jamie Hayter gets up and hits Storm from behind with the Rainmaker Lariat for the 1-2-3. The winners of this match by pinfall, Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. And sadly, unfortunately, we do not get Jamie Hayter's amazing music. Come on, AEW. That was the chance to play Jamie Hayter's music here with the big ripcord lariat for the win. Great match here. Match of the night. This kind of saved the show, in my opinion. Some of the other matches were just okay, not the level of that we expect on Dynamite. Like, you know what I mean? We just expect like 4-star matches left and right. So this was definitely a 4-star match at least. Great stuff here. Shout out to both sets of teams here. I would love for a women's tag team title to be a thing. I don't get why you would ever have a division where you didn't have a singles and a tag title. Like, I'm still a proponent of the X division getting tag titles because it just makes sense that if you have a set division, like New Japan does it with they have separate tag titles for the junior heavyweights. Like, if you have a division, have a singles championship and a tag title. I don't even really care about the secondary singles titles. All that really, as much as all the classic Intercontinental stuff back in the day and all the stuff we've had with the TNT title with Cody and Miro and Brody Lee and stuff like that, it still kind of devalues the original singles title. So I don't get why there's just not one singles title, one tag title for each division. You could add trios titles as well. Imagine if there was only one women's singles title, a tag title for the women, and maybe even a trio. So there would be 3 different titles for the women to get, and then you could have teams and stables and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, let's just move on. We get a really weird segment next. It's Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti in Paris, and it's all lovey-dovey. They are going to get married. So for the second time in just over a year and a half or something, we see Sammy Guevara saying he's going to get married to a different woman. That's funny. So Eddie Kingston then says, "Cut this. This is a wrestling show." And now we see Eddie Kingston in the back getting rid of that terrible lovey-dovey promo or whatever that was. Eddie Kingston says, "Why don't I get stuff like this? Nobody cares about Sammy Guevara. You got a receipt coming, Sammy. And so when you're done with your Paris thing, I'll be waiting for you at the pay-per-view. Sign the contract for All Out." And then that segment ends. So looks like we might be getting an Eddie Kingston, Sammy Guevara match at All Out. Not exactly what I would like to see one of my favorite wrestlers currently, Eddie Kingston, doing it All Out, but I guess it should be a good match. Sammy will be able to do some high-paced stuff, and Sammy can also take all the big shots from Eddie. So it should be a good styles clash of a match. Now we see another recap of Powerhouse Hobbs attacking Ricky Starks, and then Powerhouse Hobbs is about to come out for his match. But before that happens, Taz, who's been on commentary all night, says, "I didn't know that was going to happen. I also didn't know Hook was going to fight for the title. But what I do know is that as of this moment, Team Taz is dead. It's done." So Team Taz has been disbanded, which is a shocking turn of events here. I thought they were always going to be a thing. I thought they were going to bring like Layla Hirsch into their group at one point before her injury. Maybe you could bring in like Marina Shafir, and add a couple more people to Team Taz. I thought they were going to be a stable to rival like Blackpool Combat Club and stuff like that. But seemingly just out of nowhere, Team Taz is done. And right when the trios tournament got announced too, we didn't get to have Ricky Starks, Hobbs, and Hook be in the trios tournament, which I would have loved them to be in the trios tournament before all of this storyline happened. But I guess It is what it is. Now Powerhouse Hobbs comes out with new evil version of his same music. It still has the Powerhouse. It still has some of the stuff is in the background, but now it's got evil sounding stuff over it with darker light boards. So a little cheesy on that. Almost makes it look like the Kane version of Luchasaurus, how he just kind of turned evil version. Anyway, Hobbs is the third ranked singles competitor. Not really out of nowhere, but out of nowhere because he'd been out of the singles division and in the tag division, which took him out of the singles rankings. Powerhouse Hobbs now goes right back to number 3 because he had a great record before that. In the ring already is his opponent, Ren Jones, who we've seen many a times on Dark and Elevation, usually losing. So Ren Jones is about half the size of Powerhouse Hobbs. This is going to be nasty, and Ren Jones gets attacked right away, and Hobbs hits a nasty running power slam and a lariat to get the 1-2-3 in about a minute. The winner of this match by pinfall, Powerhouse Hobbs. Right after the match, immediately after, we see someone dart running past the camera, but you already know who it is. It's Ricky Starks, and he's here for revenge. He hits a couple punches here, but Hobbs just hits a massive spine buster in response. That takes out Ricky Starks, who probably has a bad neck after last week, and Hobbs just leaves after that. Nothing said. No more attacks done. The damage was done. Hobbs won his match. He's out of here. That was intense. Team Taz is dead. No word from Hook. Just kind of wild story here. Like I said, I wish we could have got Team Taz into the trios tournament so we could have seen them. I don't think we've ever gotten to see them in a trios match, which would have been fun, but maybe we've seen it before. I'm just not remembering it. So let's just kind of move on. Miro is now in a video here, and Miro, who's been doing these video things for a while now, wish he would actually be in some matches, but Miro says, my God, what can I trust? Did you send the visitor that's been visiting? She's been telling me all kinds of things. How can I tell the difference anymore? You pagans rely on costumes, but when it comes to me, Miro doesn't need a mask. I just need time. In the end, everyone reveals themselves, and you know the Redeemer will too. So that ends that little thing. The visitor, by him saying she, tells me that it might have been Julia Hart trying to whisper, I don't know, sweet nothings to join the house of, or it's just whatever voices you hear when the black mist hits you. So what we've seen with the black mist so far is that if you have a strong conscience and a strong will, like Miro would, and like other people in the past, like Penta and Cody and stuff. Although you could say Cody did get affected by the mist, and that's why he went to WWE. That's just too meta, though. Anyway, we saw that Julia Hart, who's only like 20 years old, didn't have the strong will to fight the resistance here. Miro seemingly has the will to fight the resistance, but he's thinking about just joining anyway. And Miro's now trying to decide if he wants to keep fighting for his god or join the pagans. It's really a cool story, but I really wish we could have been seeing Miro destroying people. I know like squash matches aren't that effective anymore, and but I guess Miro could have just had a good match against somebody that's a youngster. I don't know, like a Dante Martin, you know. So we really haven't been seeing Miro in too many matches. I think he won the qualifier to get to the All Atlantic title match, and then was in the All Atlantic title match. I can't remember Miro being in any other matches. So I wish he would do that a little bit more. But this story is definitely intriguing, and again, it just tells me we need like with the roster AEW has, especially the women's division, we need like 5 more hours of programming a week to be able to tell all these stories. I guess that it's fine by like having people disappear for a week, but if you go like disappear for 2 weeks, that's 20 days between seeing people, and that's a little bit too much. So if you can try and keep people on a rotation of every other week, then you can try and do this, but it's really tough with only 5 hours, or wait, no, 4 hours of 3 hours on television, and then an additional maybe 3 hours on YouTube, which is mostly just squash matches. So they do need, especially the women's division alone could have an hour weekly show, which we might get. I've heard rumors. So anyway, right after that, after a commercial break, Darby Allin is now in a video. He's tattooing his own hand while talking, and he says, The part of the story that you don't want to say, Brody King, is how you got into AEW. You know it was me that went to Tony Khan and said, hire this man, Brody King. So the fact that you're here, or the fact that you are here, is eating you alive. That something about, like, I got you here and it's eating you alive. You say you don't need anything from me. You don't need my respect. That's a lie. You need everything from me. That's why you're trying to build your name off of me. I just want you to know that you asked for this. This hand will be the last thing you see as I shut your coffin. Now we see what Darby was tattooing on his hand, and it reads, "The coffin drops on Brody King." So Excalibur then tells us that there will be a coffin match next week on Dynamite, Brody King versus Darby Allin. That should be a great match. Last match they had, Brody King just absolutely destroyed Darby Allin. But now Darby will be in his specialty, and I think it's no rules with weapons allowed. So it should be a different match. I would assume Brody King wins again, but we'll just have to wait and see. So now Jim Ross comes out to call the action for hour number 2. After Jim Ross called both hours of Dynamite last week and Rampage. So Jim Ross did 3 straight hours last week, only coming out for hour 2 here. So next it will be Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage, a rivalry that goes back almost 25 years, and Jim Ross was there to call most of it. So Christian Cage comes out first. He's got a singles record of 8-3, and Jungle Boy tried to hit Christian with a car only a few hours before this. So Christian might be a little distracted coming into this one. Matt Hardy now comes out next. These two fought on Dynamite about a year ago, and Christian won. So Matt's been also going through a lot. Not only does he want revenge for that loss, but don't forget Christian sent Luchasaurus after Matt, sending him through a table as well as talking trash about Matt and Jeff. So Matt goes right after Christian here because he's mad. This is a grudge match here. The bell rings to start the match. Christian tries to cover up in a ball and in the corner, but then counters and Matt and hits a couple nasty uppercuts here. Christian hits 3 more net uppercuts as Matt now fights back. Christian stays in control with Matt blocking a middle rope DDT attempt, punching Christian from the top rope to the outside. Matt quickly follows him out there, sending Christian into the barricade. Christian blocks the next attack with 4 back elbows in a row. Back in the ring now, Matt takes Christian down again, who covers up in the ball in the corner, and this forces the referee to break the attack. Matt comes right back in and hits those delete headshots into the turnbuckles. Now Matt hits a pop-up, sit-down powerbomb for a 2 count. That looked nice with the ropes assisted on that move. Now Christian runs away, but Matt catches him. Christian throws Matt hard into the steps right after that. Then Christian hits a nasty running knee strike right on Matt's head into the steel steps as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Christian's now talking trash to Matt and the crowd, wearing Matt down in the ring a little bit here. Christian hits a neck breaker for a 2 count, then rakes the face and is pulling at the nose and stuff. Matt's in trouble now, getting all his comeback attempts cut off right away. Matt fights out of a headlock, but again can't take control. Christian goes up to the top rope, but Matt is able to meet him up there, and as we come back from picture-in-picture ad break, Matt hits a superplex for a 2 count. Both men kind of landed hard, and they start a striking exchange from their knees, getting up to their feet now. Matt counters a charging Christian with a back body drop. Then Matt has mounted punches in the corner now, hits a middle rope elbow drop to the back of the neck of Christian, who then blocks a twist of fate attempt, and then hits a rope-assisted kick to counter Matt. Again, that little layback spring kick thing that Christian does that he started doing in TNA. Matt's now able to block a back body drop from Christian, or able to block and then back body drops Christian from the apron into the ring, and Christian kicks out at 2 again. Matt is able to block a kill switch attempt, but Christian whiplashing Matt hard into the ropes, then hits a diving headbutt off the top ropes. Matt's just barely able to avoid another uppercut and then hit the side effect for a 2 count after getting hit with that dive off the top rope. So Matt is definitely having a lot of fight here. Both men are now on the apron. Matt hits a side effect hard on the apron and then goes over to get that table, the same one, well, not the exact same one, but the same kind of the table that was in the spot where Luchasaurus slammed Matt through it a few weeks ago. Matt then dives off the apron with an elbow drop, but Christian rolls off of this table and Matt crashes through it. Christian rolls him back in the ring, hits the kill switch, and gets the 1-2-3. Winner of this match by pinfall, Christian Cage. Really good match. Nothing wrong at all. Nothing amazing. Just kind of what you would expect out of the veterans here. Christian now goes under the ring and gets 2 chairs. He's looking to hit a one-man concerto here, but Luchasaurus comes down with his full entrance and his cane music and all that. Before he gets to the ring, though, Jungle Boy runs out through the crowd and sends Christian running through the crowd himself. So Jungle Boy apparently has bought a ticket, and that's how he got back in the building. Must have had a nice disguise. So in the back, like I said, decent match there. Nothing mind-blowing. Wasn't bad either. It was furthered along the story. We still don't really know if Luchasaurus, Luchasaurus, you got to, if you think of it as Luchasaurus having a small brain because he's a dinosaur, he kind of just goes with whoever is currently there. So as soon as Jungle Boy was gone, he listened to Christian. Once Jungle Boy came back, he listened to Jungle Boy. So if Christian can get Jungle Boy away, then he'll just have Luchasaurus on his side again. I think that's the story here, that we're trying to treat Luchasaurus as if he is a small-brained lizard. As weird as that sounds. In the back now, Tony Schiavone has Daniel Garcia, who says, "You say it was a big win last week, but that was the biggest win in AEW history. I submitted the American Dragon. I am the Dragon Slayer and the greatest technical sports entertainer of all time. Brian, when your head heals up, I'll take you out again." So then we go to an ad break. Decent promo here. Daniel Garcia is getting more and more comfortable. He still kind of comes off as if he's acting instead of just being natural about it. This one was a little bit more natural, and he has a lot to brag about after the biggest win of his career. Good stuff to follow that up with at least a promo. That was a big moment in Daniel Garcia's career. Maybe not the biggest moment if he ever goes on to becoming a world champion or something, but the biggest moment of his career right now. When we come back from an ad break now, we see a recap of Pac defending the All-Atlantic title all around Europe. These have been shown on Dark. You can find my reviews. I review every episode of Elevation and Dark, and there's been some great title matches. This has kind of become, we all kind of groaned when the All-Atlantic title was announced, but it represents two things. It's the European title to be defended in Europe, and it's the Dark title, the main event Dark. Almost every week we've had 3 out of the last 4 weeks of Dark main evented by a 15 to 18 minute title defense match against 25, 23-year-old prodigies from Europe who I've never heard about, and now I've seen 3 different guys that Pac has defended. Well, the first one we knew about, it was Shota and Mino, but now we've seen RJ Cleary and last night, what was his name? Connor Mills. 2 guys I've never seen before. They're both 23 years old, about 7 years pros, so they're prodigies that already have like close to 300 matches in their career, only 23 years old. So we got to see Pac defending his title against those. That has instantly made Dark way better. Also going on with this storyline is Kip Sabian with the box on his head, which we've seen in the AEW crowds for a long time now. Now we've been seeing this guy with the box on his head that Excalibur is calling Kip Sabian, but Taz is like, well, do you really know? He's now Kip Sabian following Pac around Europe as well. So that something should come out of that eventually. So now we go in the ring. It's Ethan Page. And if you remember, I think it was on Rampage that Ethan Page was super mad, and he won a quick match, and he yelled into the camera that he wanted more TV time. When am I going to get respect around here? So now Ethan, live on Dynamite, gets the microphone in the ring and says, "Cool, we're live. I'm talking to the people. Good. I came out here to ask a question. Why the hell is Ethan Page not on TV every week? Why don't I have an action figure? Why am I not on the bus? Why? So Ethan Page deserves better. Why would you guys cheer when my t-shirt goes on sale? You don't even buy it. Quit cheering, you nitwicks. Are the first in line for Orange Cassidy's thumbs up or a CM Punk shirt or lap up, whatever Eddie Kingston's now spitting out. This company is leaving money on the table by not using Ethan Page. So now Stokely Hathaway, halfway through this promo, had come down to the ring and is now in the ring. Stokely Hathaway gives Ethan Page his business card and then leaves. Ethan takes the card and then leaves with Stokely Hathaway. So we also saw Stokely Hathaway just recently recruit Lee Moriarty, who turned heel. Ethan Page was already heel, but it looks like he will now disassociate himself, maybe not only from Dan Lambert, who we haven't seen in a while, but disassociate himself from Men of the Year as well, potentially. I think maybe Scorpio Sky's out injured right now, but still, this is good. Ethan Page has been destroying people on Elevation week after week, and really good matches for being squash matches. So Ethan Page is great and does deserve more. He's a great character. He's a great promo guy. The people like him. and I think he can go for a long way. So we'll have to see how Stokely Hathaway does now. He's got someone kind of in his prime with Ethan Page, and he's got a young prodigy, Lee Moriarty, in his group now as well. It looks like this is going to be a separate faction, separated from Jade Cargill and the baddies. It's just going to be something that Stokely Hathaway does on the side. So in the back now, we see 2.0, Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange, and they're with Anna JAS. Daddy Magic says, "You want to know what makes my nipples hard? 1 week from tonight, Jericho is going to become champion for the second week." Cool Hand Ange then says, "Start acknowledging us. We just keep getting better and better." So Anna says, "I'm the sexiest and toughest. I choked out Ruby, and I'll choke all of you out." So then Anna J chokes out a backstage assistant, and Anna J has gone wild. So what are they even teaching the people here at JAS to make them turn this wild? That's pretty funny. So oh hey, what's up? Thanks for watching. Next is going to be a tag team dumpster match. The only way to win is getting both members of your team in the dump, or the other team in the dumpster with the lid closed. It's the same rules as the coffin match, which we will see a coffin match next week. So Billy Gunn then comes down with his sons, but the Acclaimed come out right behind without music and attack Billy with a trash can. We never see Billy Gunn again in this match, so that must have took him out hard. The Gun Club then runs up to help, but they get taken out as well. And then Max Caster has his music start. And this, like my friend Mark here was talking about, this is going to be the big talking point. So the Rock winning the Rumble definitely could happen. I could definitely see that happen. So here we go. Here's the Max Caster rap from this week, and it is a doozy. So Max Caster says, "The Acclaimed gonna leave the Gun Club in a bad way. We got the match in the back because it's trash day. No filler. I ain't Instagram, but I wish the ass boys retired like Vince McMahon." And that's the big line that everyone's going to blow up about. Vince McMahon reference on AEW tonight. But that wasn't the end of the rap. The rest was, "We beat you down, then you know the rest. I'm more positive than Joe Biden's COVID test," which is going to get buried underneath the Vince McMahon part. And then he finishes by saying, "Yo, you're your dad's boys, but for now, y'all just the trash boys." So Gun Club then attack right away as Bowens is doing his part. Great line with the Vince McMahon. I like when people are taking shots. We even had shots on NXT 2.0 last night where they were using the dumpster in the last man standing match, Von Wagner and Solo Sikoa. So taking shots back and forth. You love to see it. Bowens is taken out. Like I said, both Acclaim get taken out as they're doing their shtick, and a hardcore brawl now breaks out. There's no rules in this match. The only rules is you have to get them in the dumpster and close the lid. Bowens is able to use his power advantage here to reverse the double team, hitting a double suplex on the Gun Club. Unfortunately, we already saw Jamie Hayter do that tonight. I hate when they do. It's you know what I mean? It's like, it's only a 2-hour show. There's only like 6 matches. Sure, every match is going to have chops and punches and stuff like that. But did we need the blocking the double suplex to do a double suplex on 2 people not too long after we just saw it from someone else? So anyway, in the ring, the bell rings and the official start to this match is underway, and the Gun Club take out Bowens with the dumpster lid, and then Max tries to help but gets kicked away. Gun Club then power bombs Bowens right into the dumpster. They throw Max in that as well, but the Acclaimed are able to stop the lid from being shut. The match still continues. Acclaimed now have pans. I think they found them in the dumpster, and they attack the Gun Club with the pans as we go to a picture-in-picture ad break. Austin then does a little dance and hits a lariat in the ring, and Austin's wearing an outfit that looks like he's a trash man. So Max then pulls Austin out of the ring. All 4 men are brawling outside the ring now. Gun Club throw the Acclaimed back into the dumpster, but again, they can't get the lid shut to win the match. Bowens then gets out and he's fighting with Austin on top of the dumpster. Austin rakes the eyes while they're up there and throws Bowens off the dumpster hard onto the outside where 4 trash cans were laying on their side. That looks pretty nasty. Gun Club then go after Max Caster now, who tries to fight back, but it's a 2-on-1 situation and the Gun Club takes control. They fight up to the entrance stage where they find another dumpster up there. There's pallets and a table nearby as well. Bowens then gets back up and he prevents anything from happening here. Colten then hits a nasty looking Colt 45 on Bowens on the stage, sending him hard into the stage back first. Big shot there. Colten then sets Bowens on the table, and Austin is already up on the entrance table ready to jump off, but Bowens gets off the table, hits Colten with a can, and then Max appears out of nowhere behind Austin on the entrance tunnel. He throws Austin off into the table, the dumpster nearby, not the table, into the dumpster. Now Colten sets up, gets sets on the table by Bowens. Max Caster jumps off the entrance ramp and hits the mic drop through the table. That was massive. The crowd's really loud now. They're loving it. And they put Colten in the dumpster, close the lid to win the match. The winners of this match, due to closing the dumpster lid, is the Acclaimed. So they locked the dumpster shut, and I knew exactly where this was, what was about to happen next. I was watching Raw live back in like 97 when Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, the New Age Outlaws, did this exact same thing to Mick Foley and Terry Funk. On Raw that night, they got pushed off the stage after getting locked in there. And now here on Dynamite Live in 2022, the sons of Billy Gunn get pushed off the stage. The lid did not stay shut. It flips over off the stage. And if the Gun Club were still in there, that must have hurt at least a little bit. Hopefully they're all right. It wasn't too big of a fall off the stage. So that was pretty cool. A callback to something I watched when I was a kid. And it involves the kids of the guy that perpetrated the original attack. So good stuff all along. So now we see a really weird thing. I ended up skipping the Ric Flair last match event, even though the event looked pretty good. I didn't want to really support a 73-year-old that wanted to blade and get bloody in the ring, and kind of looked like to me that he wanted to die in the ring. So I didn't really want to watch that. But we're told that there was something important for AEW that was a part of that. There was a 20-man battle royal. I think it was a bunkhouse battle royal. And the winner was going to get an eliminator match against Jon Moxley this week on a live Rampage. So the winner of that match is a name I've been hearing about for a while. I saw that he's going to be debuting in MLW soon, but I've never once seen this guy wrestle, and his name is Mance Warner. So he's like a big country type fella, and I don't know what to expect. I expect brawling and stuff like that, which is Jon Moxley's specialty, and I doubt that this Mance Warner guy is going to beat Moxley on Rampage in this eliminator match, and at least it's not a title match. We're not having like some random guy from some other, like I know we've been having like Takeshita and Brody King and Roosh all got title shots recently, so I'm glad to see it's not a title shot, just an eliminator match. So that'll be on Rampage, which is live in my home state of Michigan, in Grand Rapids on Friday. So where they're also taping the Battle of the Belts 3, which will be on Saturday. So also on Rampage is a street fight. If you saw last week, Swerve in Our Glory now has beef with Tony Nese and Josh Woods after Josh Woods took out Keith Lee from behind in a big beatdown. So also in terrible, god-awful, just ridiculously bad news, Madison Rayne from Impact and the Beautiful People now has a new role as an AEW women's coach in the women's division, despite being one of the worst wrestlers I've ever seen in my life, the most overrated knockout I've ever seen in TNA, and she is also terrible at promos and character work. What are they thinking? For some reason, not only that, but Madison Rayne will be on Rampage. What the heck? That is awful. Unfortunately, I cover Impact as well. I already have to see Madison Rayne suck up the joint once a week already, and now she'll be on AEW, not only on screen this Friday, but as a coach. What the heck is she gonna? What is she gonna freaking teach people? I'm just gonna move on before I start cussing. Now we get to a great video with an ROH title match. Setting up the big, I think it's the main event of Battle of the Belts 3, Claudio Castagnoli versus Konosuke Takeshita. I'm really looking forward to this match. It's going to be a banger. I'll maybe highlight this video a little bit more as we get closer to Battle of the Belts. Maybe on Rampage, I'll do a word for word on this hype video. But then Excalibur runs down the rest of the matches next week, and I had to kind of skip ahead. So if anything big was announced on Battle of the Belts as well, I didn't quite get to see it yet. But definitely come check out my Rampage review on Friday. We'll talk all about Battle of the Belts. But it is main event time. This AEW kind of flew by, and I'm definitely not going to let the stupid Madison Rayne news bring me down. Well, we got a couple questions here before we get to the main event. So The Rock versus Roman Reigns, WrestleMania 39. Yeah, I can see that still happening. It all depends on maybe The Rock doesn't want to. the only thing that could prevent that is if The Rock wants to distance himself from Vince McMahon. But now that Vince McMahon's distanced himself from WWE, I could see The Rock coming on anyway. So Mark Johnson then says Stephanie and Nick will open that forbidden door. Potentially, he would love to see a working relationship between AEW and WWE. Could you imagine the kind of NXT takeover flair they could have with all the former NXT people, then have a bunch of matches like I don't know, Seth Rollins versus Kenny Omega comes to mind. That would be nasty. So all things that it's this exciting time to be a wrestling fan. Probably I've been a wrestling fan for 30 years, and this is the most exciting it's been since about the year 2000. No joke. Back then, when I was watching the Monday Night War live and flipping channels, you never knew who was going to turn up. You never knew who was you just saw on Raw last week was now going to be on Nitro, trashing of their previous employers. And oh, I can't believe they had me being Gold Dust and stuff like you never knew what was going to happen. So it almost seems like we're coming back to that. Let's get to the main event now. So this is going to be basically a number one contendership match. Wheeler Yuta comes out first with William Regal, who goes over to do commentary, which is always awesome. Regal's great on commentary. Chris Jericho now comes out next. He's got Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange with him, as well as Floyd the baseball bat. So the crowd sings his music, even though they don't like Jericho. That still is a little weird, but I guess they just love that song. The winner of this match gets an AEW World Title match next week on Dynamite against interim champion Jon Moxley. So before the match can start, Claudio Castagnoli comes out with his Malcolm in the Middle sounding music, and he's out here to keep an eye on 2.0, which I don't think they're called 2.0 anymore, but it's just easier to say than Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange together. So the match then starts. Jericho laughs at Yuta right away, then starts talking trash. So Yuta just flicks, and not really even hard, the broken nose of Jericho to start the match, and Jericho's already in a lot of pain. So Jericho basically has a broken face coming into this match. Not only this match, but I doubt it'll heal if he's able to get past Yuta in a Moxley title match. Jericho's going to try and fight him with a broken face. So hopefully, anyway, Yuta quickens the pace right away against the much older Jericho here. That'll be a key. Yuta will try to quicken the pace a lot. He hits some chops, but Jericho's able to get out of the ring. Yuta then follows him out there, hits some more strikes as the crowd's chanting Yuta, Yuta. Then Jericho gets thrown into the barricade, and the match gets back in the ring. Cool Hand Ange grabs the foot of Yuta. The referee sees it and kicks both of 2.0 out. So Claudio, I think, gets to stay, but he'd make sure 2.0 leaves, and I don't think we ever see Claudio anymore in this match. Jericho was distracted by all this, and Yuta goes back on the attack now, hitting the broken face of Jericho even more. Yuta counters a corner attack here and goes up the ropes, but Jericho knocks Yuta right off, and this buys Jericho a little time to recover after his bad start. So we go to a picture-in-picture ad break now. Jericho hits a backdrop suplex and a bunch of strikes. Yuta tries to fight back, but Jericho evades a drop kick. Now both are up on the top ropes. Yuta pushes Jericho off, but Jericho counters a diving Yuta to keep control here as we come back from break. Yuta's comeback now was a really good, one of the best flurries of the entire evening. About 5 or 6 moves and all in a row here by Yuta. Too quick for me to even write down on the notes, but now we have a striking exchange that Yuta's able to win because it was dumb of Jericho to have a striking exchange with a broken face. So right after this, Yuta gets waist control and hits about 5 German suplexes in a row, bridging on the 5th one for a 2 count. Jericho then counters the next move and applies the walls of Jericho. Yuta's now trapped in the middle of the ring and the walls of Jericho and has taken a lot of damage before making his comeback. So Yuta can't last very long. The crowd chants Yuta, Yuta again, helping Yuta get to the ropes to break the hold. Jericho now is talking trash to the referee for whatever reason, then charges in, but Yuta's able to counter the charging Jericho here, sending Jericho out of the ring. Then Yuta hits 3 dives to the outside in a row, really quickening the pace here and crushing Jericho hard into the barricade each time. Yuta now rolls Jericho into the ring, hits a top rope cross body for another 2 count. Jericho then counters the charging Yuta now and hits the Queen Slayer backbreaker, stealing Emi Sakura's finisher here. How dare Jericho? Then Jericho misses a lion salt attempt right after that, and Yuta goes through the top rope. But Jericho counters another diving attack, this time mid-air into the code breaker. Yuta's just barely able to kick out of this. I thought it might have been over on that one. But we got a little bit more left here. Jericho's now trying to end it with hammer and anvil elbows, but Yuta is able to just grab the broken nose to escape the hold. or the, you know what I mean, get out of the grasp. Yuta now applies a Regal stretch on Jericho, and Regal says, it's on perfectly. I taught him well. And Jericho then grabs Floyd the bat instead of the ropes to break the hold. He grabs Floyd the bat. The referee takes the bat away. Jericho hits a low blow. Yuta then counters a Walls attempt with a seatbelt pin, almost getting the win with that cool seatbelt pin, but Jericho escapes and applies the Lion Tamer now, the nasty version of the Walls of Jericho, with the neck cranked as well, and the Lion Tamer forces Yuta to tap out. The winner of this match by submission and still number one contender to the AEW Interim World Title, Chris Jericho. So that line tamer stays applied now long after the match, and Claudio had already run back, so now Moxley runs out to save Yuta from further damage here. Jericho gets on the microphone after he runs away and says, Moxley, you unleashed the demon. You opened Pandora's box, man. You wanted the last survivor of the Heart Dungeon? You got it. The Lionheart, Chris Jericho, will stretch you and take your title next week. And then Dynamite ends. So, wow, really good main event. I thought maybe Yuta would win this match, but I understand AEW definitely wants to have this big Moxley Jericho title match. So I understand why Yuta didn't get the one up his rival Garcia by winning the main event the week after he did. It also shows maybe it gives Garcia even more fire under his cocky, confident character that he's going to have going forward. He already had, but now he beat Moxley. Anyway, going back to the title and going back to no Kenny Omega tonight. So maybe we'll see Kenny Omega return in the next couple of weeks, or we could definitely now see CM Punk return next week. As soon as next week, I could see CM Punk coming out right after the Moxley Jericho title match. Otherwise, why wouldn't they just have Moxley versus Jericho at All Out? So I'm thinking, since it's not Moxley versus Jericho at All Out, maybe CM Punk is going to be able to return in his hometown, and they will fight for the undisputed AEW World Title, CM Punk versus Moxley, unless Jericho somehow picks up the win. But either way, that should be interesting. We might be getting CM Punk back really soon. We might be getting Kenny Omega back really soon. Everything we currently got is really good. Team Taz broke up out of nowhere, so there's going to be a lot of stories coming out of that. The Undisputed Elite kicked out the Young Bucks. I guess they might have to find a new name. I don't know, but maybe Cole has a little bit of claim to the Elite name, but we might see the Elite foursome return as soon as like the next month. It could be the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page back together. We don't quite know what's going to happen. It's going to be exciting. The only kind of disappointing thing coming out of tonight is we didn't get any more info about teams that want to enter the tournament. Right now, we really don't know any team that is entered the trios tournament. We can assume that it might be the Young Bucks and Hangman Page, and if they are in the tournament, I can, like I said earlier, I could see them winning the trios title, and then Kenny Omega returns, either to be angry about them winning the trios title or to just give all three of them a hug and reform the Elite. That's where I see that going. But we don't even know if that's going to happen. Kenny Omega might return before the tournament starts, and then he's with the Young Bucks, and then Hangman has to go find other friends or doesn't even join. And then we just got to find out who else is in it as well. So that was my only disappointment, is that we didn't get more news, but we have a lot of questions, and now we really can't wait to find out more. Don't forget, it's going to be a live episode of Rampage, so there might be big news stories that come out of that normally wouldn't happen on Rampage. You know how they like to ramp them up when they're live. So we've also got Battle of the Belts 3 this weekend. Any different little bit of news might come out of that as well, maybe pertaining to the trios titles. We could find that out on Battle of the Belts 3. So we've got 2 more hours. I think Battle of the Belts is only an hour, so we've got 2 more hours of live programming. Well, not live. One of it's live, and then Battle of the Belts is taped on the same night as the live Rampage. So the women's match by far was the best match of tonight. As good as some of these other matches where that women's match really hit. Great stuff by all 4 women. Jamie Hayter looked like a beast, and she's one of my favorite women in the division. Really upsetting that she didn't get her music played after she got the pinfall, which is just a travesty, but because she's got some of the best music in the business. But no second women's segment, which was a little bit of a letdown. No Athena, Statlander, Jade, and the baddies. But I have heard rumors of maybe a women's only show. Hopefully, it's a weekly show and not just a one-time event. I think it was a trademark applied for all elite women, and that might be a new name for a show, maybe a one-time event. I hope it's not just a one-time event. At this point, it's already clear as day that we don't have time on these shows to really do all the stories for the women's division. Like the Knockouts division and Impact, every single woman in the division has a storyline and interlocking stories going through, something we don't get in AEW. So I would really like to see the women get their own show where they can have their own storylines. Yes, I watch Dark and Elevation every single week, and I get to watch these women perform, but there's really barely ever promos or stories, or you get to see tiny bits of stories, as in who are they teaming with in their trios team this week and stuff like that. So, and it might get brought up every now and then, like Anna Jay brought up how she was doing those trios teams with Ruby Soho, and now she's glad that she doesn't have to do that anymore because she didn't like it. So it would be nice to have a little bit more like that, but no huge complaints coming out of this show. Like me being disappointed about not getting trios news is like irrelevant, because in the meantime we got all that big news with Hangman Page and Young Bucks, and the Young Bucks being kicked out of the Undisputed Elite. So really good stuff here. Um, really looking forward to Rampage. So I'm gonna get going for now because I've been covering a lot. If you guys are interested in New Japan, I've been covering G1 as well as the backstage comments. So check out those videos. Give me a subscribe and a like up so we can get the community growing around here. Really looking forward to Rampage. So I'll see you guys then, and I will hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.